how do I handle death? It's I write about it, I talk about it, I talk about experiences from the past, but how does it really hit you? Number one, for me, as I'm getting older, and number two, as it hits really, really, really close to home. Yesterday, we came back, going back about a month and a half ago. Suddenly, our dog Maverick of 7 years, German Shepherd, started really looking like he was really, really sick one day. And we didn't have an appointment at the vet, didn't have one. It didn't seem like an emergency. It just looked like he was tired. But the next day, he was fine. The day after, he was fine again. And then come Monday, we ended up taking him when we had the appointment to come to find out that he had a lot of blood in his stomach. We rushed him to an emergency dog hospital, and they opened up the surgery. They told us it was really very traumatic because they told us, say goodbye because only 1 out of 10 dogs survived the surgery. So my wife and my son were devastated. I was devastated. But, I've seen death so many times, so much close to me, that it was holding back from really letting it tear me up. Well, my wife and son just laid on the floor, literally saying goodbye before the surgery. And I just had faith that God would heal him. And, the thing about my faith is people say, well, look, you have faith that God would heal this or heal that, and he didn't. And doesn't that just question your faith? It really doesn't question my faith one bit. Because at the end of all my prayers, I always said, let your will be done. I don't understand God's way by no means. Lately I've been reading the Old Testament, and the God of the Old Testament was not very merciful, was a very, very hard God. And I'm having hard times with it. But at the end of the day for me is my faith is blind. I don't understand God. To try to put God into human terms, it's something that's very, very difficult. But all I know is that he changed my life, and I was miserable when I was very, very rich, lost it all, became meaning to my life. I have an amazing life again today, and my faith is unwavering no matter what, even when I was told I might die any minute as I'm making this video for you. So anyway, the dog survived the surgery. He came home, and we had to wait for the biopsy, which was about a week. And the biopsy came back that he had cancer in the blood, very, very aggressive cancer. And they told us, look, don't expect him to live 2 to 6 months. My wife, of course, did everything that she humanly possibly could. She started to research, and she found this veterinarian with a Ph.D. that practiced Chinese medicine. So we took him to him. She did acupuncture. She looked at the biopsy. She did an examination. And she said, look, most of my dogs, after you change their diet, after you do the acupuncture, maybe 5 sessions, and you put them on these Chinese herbs, they'll live a long life. So we believed it, and we brought him home, and sure, he was back to his old self. So we had a trip planned to Cozumel for my daughter's spring break, and we decided, let's go. My mother-in-law, who's going to Colombia next month, decided, well, no, I'm just going to stay and just be with him. So we went for 4 days, literally, 5 days. We got there on Monday, came back Saturday. Friday, my mother-in-law called us and said the dog was not eating and he wasn't very, very active. But, we just thought that he was really, really missing us. And he does. At that time when we used to go on a trip, he wouldn't even eat for the first couple of days. So we finally got home, 11 o'clock yesterday, Saturday. And I called for him, and normally he would just jump all over me, almost knock me down. He's a 70-pound, gorgeous German Shepherd. He would not move from the floor. My wife touched his stomach, and it looked like it was really, really pretty hard. And so we took him to the emergency hospital where he had the surgery. They examined him, and then the vet came back and said, you were told about this cancer. And my wife said, yes. He says, well, it's come back. His stomach is full of blood. He's not going to make it a couple hours. And it was hard. Very, very hard. I did everything I could to stay strong for my wife and my daughter who were there. And I said to the doc, I said, my son, whose dog he is in Mexico. He doesn't come back to the next day. Can we keep him alive somehow? Whatever it costs, it doesn't matter. She said, he's not going to make it a couple hours. And really the most humane thing to do is to put him down. At the beginning, I said, I don't want to be there. My wife and daughter agreed. My wife, through her tears, broke it. I never seen her cry so much. she's like, you know, I don't want him to suffer. And he didn't suffer, and that was the beauty about it. But I said, I'm not going to be here. I don't want to see him put to death. You know, one of my coping mechanisms is, as I deal with death, I try to remember, I want to remember the person or the animal as they were when they're full of life, not when they're dying. But yet, you know, my dad died in my arms from cancer, and it was a very horrific experience. But, you know, I realized life must go on. So I said, well, no, we're not going to be here. But my wife suddenly starts crying. She says, I don't want him to die by himself. So needless to say, my daughter and I went in the room. We called my son. Unfortunately, by some weird circumstances, his phone was up on private, and he had gone to sleep early. And we just couldn't get a hold of him so he could see him. I took a video, but of course nobody wants to see that video. None of the kids do. And my wife just lay there, and veterinarian, she was amazing, so kind, and so understanding and so compassionate. I mean, I just applaud her. Didn't have the same experience with the prior veterinarians where they're like, hey, he's going to die. That's just the way it is. You know, say goodbye, and life goes on. We got other dogs to take care of. This woman was amazing. So my wife laid on the floor. She said, you can be with him as long as you want. My wife said, fine. So she took about 20 minutes to be with him, to talk to him and caress him. And then she came in and she said, hey, I'm going to give him 2 shots. One is just going to put him into a dreaming state. And then the second is just going to stop his heart. It'll be very quick. And it just brought to mind lethal injection when they put human beings down, especially when they used to at Angola and Louisiana. And sometimes it did not kill them. They changed to the lethal injection because they used to electrocute them, and sometimes it didn't work. And the person would suffer immensely, as they did even with the lethal injections. But so it was comforting to hear her say that it was quickly. She did, and he died. And it was tough. And my son came yesterday, and it was horrific. I mean, he called us in the morning. He knew something was wrong because my wife had left him 3 text messages. And so he was devastated. He had to fly home. So he's gone. He's dead. And 7 years old, full of life, gorgeous, gorgeous. One of the best breeders in the country. He was the pick of the litter. Our trainer, when we first got him, won numerous shows with him. And he was just the kindest and the greatest dog in the world. So how do we deal with it? It's hard. So for anyone to tell you that you just move on or you get another pet, it's like, really? Is that what happens in life? So we grieve with him. But then you cling on to the belief, whether it's real or not, it's insignificant. To the belief that when Pope Francis said that dogs go to heaven, that my dog is in heaven with my parents and we will meet up with him again. Now, is that true or not? I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I'm going to live with the belief that it does, and it provides an amazing comfort. And when I'm dead, if it isn't, what does it matter? I'm dead anyways. It's just like faith. Like I told my cardiologist when she said, why are you not worried about dying? I said, Doc, if I live, I enjoy my family. I enjoy my grandkids. I want to see my other children, the last ones, get married and have children and be successful. And success for me doesn't mean they have a great job. Success doesn't mean that they're like, rich or anything like that. Success just merely means to me that, hey, you know what? They are happy in what they're doing. And as long as my children are, that's all I care about. So I do want to live. I have a lot of anxiety. Not anxiety, but I have a lot of desire to live at 66. Knowing that I can help more people. Knowing that I can make a greater impact. That I can write, that I can make videos like this to encourage people to be different. But at the same time, if I die, I said to her, I'm going to be with my mom and my dad. I'm going to be with Jesus. And she looked at me. I don't know if she's a person of faith or not. And she's like, I'm like, look, Doc, and let me just clarify. If there is no Jesus, if there is no heaven, what does it matter? The day I die, I'll just become fertilizer like you and everybody else. So I'm not worried about that. So I'm going to live my life believing that there is a God, trying to be the best person that I can, and believing that my separation from my loved ones, and now my dog, who is one of my loved ones, is temporary. I can't believe I'm 66 now. It was just yesterday that I got out of prison at 49. So, life goes on. But what is the big teaching when we deal with death? And the big message that I want to get across. We live in such a divided world. We've lost friends over political issues that are insignificant to us. We've dealt with horrific divisions in our family over. It used to be that we had different opinions. Now is no such thing as different opinion. Now is either you believe what I believe or you're my enemy. Family members. But what I'm here to tell everyone is that is all BS. None of that matters. Our life is a fleeting moment, and we have to enjoy every moment in this earth and love our loved ones. Love our friends. Commune with them. Stop using social media to communicate with those that we love. It's good to to make a phone call one day, to hear people's voice, to let them that we love them. Don't wait till someone dies to say, I love you and I never said it before and I wish I was. No, say it now. Don't wait till someone dies that you love and then have regrets. I could have visited them more. I could have spent more time with them. I could have told them how much difference they made in my life, how much I've loved their company, their companionship. That in spite of all of our differences, because what death does is makes everything equal. Everybody goes to the ground just as we came to this earth naked. None of the money we have, or the buildings, or the cars, or the possessions, or all those great achievements go with us. The only thing that goes with us is love. It's the way that we have loved others. It's that we've obeyed God's 2 commandments. Love God with all your heart, might, and spirit and soul. And love your neighbor as yourself. Love your brother as yourself. Who is my brother? Everyone that I believe was created by God. That's my brother. It doesn't matter what gender. It doesn't matter what gender affiliation they are or belief. It doesn't matter what color. It doesn't matter what race. Everyone is my brother. And love really breaks down all kinds of barriers. Love transcends time and space. So that day when we say goodbye to that person, we don't have to worry about the fact that, did they know we loved them? No. My father does not need to know that I loved him. I told him that over and over and over again. I was involved in his life. I called him no matter, I could be in the jungles of Colombia. And I had to make sure that I had a satellite phone so I could call my mom and dad. They knew how much I loved them. They knew how much I respected them. Even when I did not agree with so many of the things that they believed or did. It didn't matter. They were my parents. And I respected. And I never ever told my dad, you're wrong. So the day he died in my arms, I didn't have to live. Yeah, I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss not talking to him every day. But I don't have to live with that feeling, that regret, that what if. It's one of the greatest things that I teach people is, and I taught my children all my life, don't live with what if, son, daughter. Don't live with that what if. That what if will destroy you. It will haunt you. Do the best you can. As a young person, take risk. Love people. Kindness. Be kind. Be respectful. Be a person of integrity. Those are the values that transcend time and space. Not whether I'm a freaking Republican or I'm a Democrat. That's all insignificant. Not whether I love or hate Trump. It's insignificant. None of that will get us to heaven. What will get us to heaven, I believe, is that we have faith in a God that forgives. In a God that gives us second chances. That we have faith in a God that loves us. That doesn't give us more than we can handle. That promises us glory. That's what's important. And that we obey his commandment by loving others. Not by whether I eat meat on a Friday or not because I'm Catholic. It's insignificant. Not whether I eat pork or not because I'm a Muslim. Not because I'm a Muslim and I'm a Catholic, or you're a Muslim, I'm a Catholic, or I'm an evangelical. None of that matters. Those are all labels given by man. What matters is love. It's not a label given by man. It's an ability given by God. It's a gift to love people. To love them no matter what. To find that companion that will stay with you when there's a million reasons to leave you. They will find one to stay with you. Love. Love breaks down even the hardest and biggest barriers. Hurt for people that are hurting. Help those that you can. Doesn't matter how. Be good to people. Be kind. Be a person of integrity. Don't lie. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. And be present in the life of those you want. Don't wait till you're there at the funeral. I'm not even going to have a funeral. So I tell my kids, if you're not present in my life, don't worry about a funeral and being there and cry over what? That I'm gone? Cry that you miss me, but not for me. I'm going to be in a better place. Don't send me gifts. Don't bring me gifts. Call me. That's simple. Come see me. That's what I did for my mom and dad. See, they never took $1 from when they found out I was in the drug business. My dad died in the same house that he lived all his life. The house that he bought for $20,000 in Miami. He died with an old car and a fake Cartier watch. I could have given my parents and wanted to give them mansions. Wanted to give them $1 million cars. Wanted to give them great jewelry. They just wouldn't take it because they knew the source of where it came. And they were convinced that my life and my choices were not going to impact their life and their choices. So see, my dad never gave me nothing, but he gave me principles. And my mom gave me faith to believe in myself, to believe in God. My mom left everything in Cuba to come to the United States so her children could love God freely. A woman that was born with a silver spoon. A very rich woman. Her father was a war hero in the independence. A woman that went to the university, one of maybe 5 during her time. A woman that traveled and spoke perfect English. Left all her fortune, farms, houses, everything behind in Cuba to come to the United States with the clothing on her back to give a new life to her children for one reason. She didn't want her children to grow up in communism. She wanted her children to be able to know that God was real, that God existed, and that a personal relationship with God was the most important thing in this world. Imagine at the age of 40 leaving everything behind and then being left in Cuba and seeing your children leave, not knowing if you ever see them again because you wanted for them what you were willing to sacrifice all. Ability to love God. So she gave me my faith. My father was a nominal Catholic. Couldn't tell much about his faith, except the fact that he said all he asked God is to take care of his children. But was a good man. He helped everybody he could. He gave to others without ever expecting to be paid back. And he was present in my life. And that's what I remember. See? We don't remember things that were given. Most people don't even remember things that they got for Christmas 3 years ago, 2 years ago. But everyone remembers the presence of someone they loved. So how do I deal with the death of my father? Hard. Do I miss him? Yeah. Do I cry sometimes? Of course. We must grieve. But I am assured that I will see him again. How do I deal with the death of my dog? I celebrate his life. I celebrate the great joy. I don't focus on the pain that I'm going through right now. Every time I think about it, I think about other things. Other people are suffering much more than me. In Ukraine right now. People are seeing their whole life devastated by a merciless dictator that doesn't give a damn about anybody but himself and his greed, his ego. It's almost like I'm seeing Pablo Escobar all over again. He will destroy that city, Ukraine, but he can't destroy the heart of those people. Pablo destroyed Medellin, Colombia, but Medellin, Colombia rose out of the ashes again, and their people are good. It's sad that for a long time we're going to see the Russian people as bad people when they're not. Putin is bad, not the Russian people. Pablo Escobar was bad, not Colombians. So, my friends, as I grieve the death of my dog, I urge you, celebrate people's lives. Celebrate those close to you. And when that moment comes, that bad news comes, which will come, you don't have to live with what if and have to live with any regrets. Be blessed.